Gundam.tk presents High Grade AGE-1 Sparrow. Hey again everybody, it's Robert184, 2 R's, 2 B's from Gundam.tk, which is GundamReviews.net, and the High Grade AGE-1 Sparrow spins into view there. You've already seen everything from the unbox to the parts to the mobile suit, and now it's a comprehensive list of the good and bad things so that you can make the call. Is this something you want to add to your Gundam Age or Gundam collection? As he spins around here, and I think he's looking pretty cool. The only problem being is that it costs 1,200 yen to get a guy who looks like this. Compared to the AGE-1 Normal and the AGE-1 Titus, where for the same price you're getting a lot more parts, I'm talking shields and beam weapons, and a whole plate of effect parts in the case of the Titus, this guy just seems like he's lacking weapons, accessories, and effect parts. Now, part of that is just the MS design, but it seems like there could be a smaller price difference for the plastic. If you've got an extra plate in the Titus, I can see it costing more, but this one, it doesn't seem like there's a reason for it. Now, this being similar to the other AGE-1s, of course you're going to be getting some repeats. The head you should expect. A little bit disappointing that the chest is exactly identical. I got used to the Titus just having that little bit of a change, which just made it not boring to put it together. But when you get into things like posability, I don't see why you'd have an elbow that can only bend 90 degrees on a kit like this that's designed to be super mobile and super fast. The fact that the arms are going to give you more than 90 degrees, but it's going in the wrong way. There's not a lot of cool poses that makes it look like your elbow's being broken. Another small problem is just if you look down below, these white ankles, they can fall off pretty easily. They just will fall down when you're moving the ankles around, and when they do that, it just seems like they're not attached on as well as they should be. No problems though with the wrists or those extra color wraps up there, just down on the feet. The needle guns are a great idea. I like the idea of the Titus being able to bash people in with effect parts in his knee. This guy, similar thing, except he's got some cool needles coming out, very Mega Man 3-ish. The only problem being is that you're hardly ever going to see them because they're very small and you have to get the legs at such an angle. If they could have opened up and extended or something like that, or if they had been built into the top part as opposed to the bottom parts, they may be more visible and something that you're more inclined to show off. And that brings us to the weapon itself. This is the advanced grade Shigel blade. I'm still calling it the Shigel blade, not the sigil. But anyway, you've got this white blade, which is okay. You get the color differentiation because you've got gray hands and it's got a gray handle. The only problem being, you get used to some nice clear green parts, or if they had just gone... The A plate already has the 4 colors, so I can understand them not doing something else. But even with the AGs for things like the Genoas and the Genoas Custom, you get a very tiny 1 color plate. And yes, it's a clear plate, but could they not have done that for the blade as well? That would have bumped up the price for me up to 1,200, and then I'd have no complaints about that at all. They do give you the compromise of the stickers, but when you put the stickers on, because it's got that part in the back where you attach it on, you're basically going to have some ugly white showing through on your pale green stickers that aren't necessarily going to stay on. Now, all you painters out there are just going to say paint it yourself, and the fact that it's white certainly gives you the option. It just would have been nice for lazy people like me. Finally, Sparrow, whatever you want to call it. Bandai, could you have checked your spelling, or is that the way it's really meant to be? So even though there's a whole list of negatives, what about the positives? There's a big list of those too, and a lot of those are going to be exactly the same that you'd see with the AGE-1 Normal. Of course, it shares a lot of parts, it shares a lot of similarities. I'm talking about the things like the gray and the separation on the spoilers. There's so many colors, so few parts. The way you put the chest together, those clear vents, or the yellow vents which provide the black to show through underneath. The stickers looking good. The head is fantastic that it's got that gray part in there, whether you want to change the color or not. Completely regardless, it's a great kit. And it looks great. This whole high-grade AGE-1, it's got all the best parts of it. In terms of this one specifically, what about the color applications? This one, I think it's fantastic. I was a little bit worried about all this extra white on the arms and the ankles, only because I thought the advanced grade looked good in gray. That's completely been dispelled. I think it looks fantastic, especially up there on the shoulders and on the forearms down there. It's going to look great. The ankles, well, you can have your choice with that. But overall, it looks good. The build was a lot of fun. I'm talking about putting these legs together. There's tons of unique engineering, as you may have seen in the parts. The way you put that together, the shoulders and the fact that these white parts can open up, everything about it combined with the thrusters and little things like seam lines being well covered up by the fact that they've got things on here. When you put those little tiny thrusters on, you'd expect there to be 3 ugly marks, but Bandai did a very good job of putting them on the plates in a way that you can get them off and not leave any ugly discolorations behind. Or at least not something that a very quick lining marker can take care of. The posing is fantastic. This guy's going to go anywhere you want. Especially in the legs, he can do full splits and show off the needle guns in a lot of those poses. The thrusters, I purposely put them up on display here just to show them off. Would be nice if they could be a little bit more on display, but there's really nothing you can't do with this guy, and he's always going to look good. And the thing that I give the most credit for that is just this shoulder design. Who would think that skinny, tall, rectangular looking shoulders would look good? Well, I never would have until I saw it in action here. Yes, this mobile suit in action has sold me on that style. He looks sleek, he looks tall, he looks fast, he looks everything that he should be. Combine the fact that you've got some few fun features built in. The needle guns, they're not that exciting, but they're still great to have them. You've got the thrusters on the forearms, again, they're hidden in the back, but it's still great to have them. Those little kind of tiny details are going to make no matter what pose you do, you can get one of them on display and make this guy look like the speed beast that he is. Final verdict, is this guy worth picking up? And the answer for me is an easy yes, only because the anime was great, his debut, and the model, it perfectly captures the power of the anime. This guy's supposed to be sleek, fast, and cool, and this he is. He's also tall, which is something you don't expect to sway your opinion that much, but it really does for me. It really adds to the sleekness of this whole theme. He's not as great though as the Titus, I have to say. I went as far as to say that the high-grade Titus was one of the best high-grade kits I've ever built. It's got tons of things. This one has a lot of features. It has a lot of positives about it. Does it have as many as the Titus? I'd say no. But does it do the job? It absolutely does, and it's going to round out your collection. And I think if you're a fan of AGE-1 and Flit and the whole first generation, this is a kit that you'd like, maybe even more than the AGE-1 normal if you take away its classic features. As always though, that's my opinion and just mine, so why don't you let me know yours with a comment down below so other people can check that out and perhaps respond with their 2 cents. Always great to hear from you. What do you think about the mobile suit and this video itself? I'm liking this whole AGE-1 trio. I think they did a great job with it. We've seen it in lots of other Japanese animes lately to have this variation thing of the same lead, but I think they did a pretty good job with it, and it only makes me more excited to see what we're going to see with the second generation and beyond. Is the Sparrow worth picking up? I'd say yes, just because, hey, to have a fast, speedy Gundam like this, it only makes me think, how cool is it going to be to choose this guy in Gundam Extreme versus Boost, and then have him transform amongst the three. Anyway, everybody, Robert184 Gundam.tk, lots more to come, including UE and the second generation with the AGE-2 on its way. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. I think this unique wear for the AGE-1 is going to be called the Eileen Gundam. This is what twice as much money is gonna get ya.